Hello, and welcome back to my FC 24 Kit Quest Manager Career Mode with Tottenham Hotspur and Alejo Véliz with the Tottenham Hotspur 2023-2024 third kit, the Taupe Haze kit, that is somewhat infamous. And today we're going to be recapping the 2025-2026 season. If you remember last time, second season in a row, we kind of were in a title race but couldn't quite finish it out, and lost to a dominant Manchester City side in terms of the title race. So we finished first two seasons with no silverware. So did we win any silverware this year? That's where we kind of go over here. So first things first, we'll kind of go through the standings, the various competitions. Look here in the Premier League, as you can see here, we were pretty dominant in the Premier League and won with 96 points. So we lost twice. Pretty sure those two losses. One was to Man City, match week 29, 2-3 loss. And then the other one was to Newcastle United in match week 17, a 1-2 loss. Rather than that, we played really, really solid. Most of the season got good luck in terms of both simming and then like me being able to play some matches against tougher opponents. But a lot of it was really good luck in the sim. Like we beat Arsenal at home in a simulated match. We beat Liverpool as I would have played against them, so we got good luck with that. For sure. Liverpool, we drew them in the other match, like which I simmed, which was another good kind of result. And I'm pretty sure we also drew against Man City at some point. Yeah, we drew against in our first match against Man City in a simulated match. We had pretty good luck in the sim in terms of like getting positive results against the big clubs. Then me combination me playing and simulating against some of the smaller clubs and whatnot, we got good results. So we finished out pretty dominant in the league with was at a 19-point gap between us and City in second, which I'll take, which kind of means it's kind of like for the rest of the seasons in this kind of go until Veliz's contract expires. This is a successful kit quest. We have won a piece of silverware, a very important piece of silverware here in the Premier League title. So at the end, I'll be trying to find because now it's into the new season, it gets hard to find some of the older season's kits. I'll be trying to find the Taupe Haze kit somewhere online, and then probably going to be even harder potentially to find a Véliz name set because he played like 8 games, barely any minutes last year for Tottenham. I'll do my best to track it down and kind of get a kit done up, and then at some point, link it into probably the last episode of the series, which will be like in a couple seasons. Whenever I kind of get that all set up and the kit done, I post it on my kit and slash jersey Instagram. The link to that post and will be in the description. You can kind of check out the kit, and I'll have like maybe a picture or two from this kit quest and like a picture of like what else is gonna be cool. I'm gonna try and make because there aren't any like another part of this too is I usually have like a hockey card or a soccer card like with the player wearing the kit or jersey in question like on my desk like in between some of the keys on my keyboard to kind of like look at and stuff and kind of have as like a cool piece as part of the kit quest or the jersey quest. So because there aren't really any Véliz cards out there from his time at Tottenham, I'm gonna try my best. Might not come out great, but I'm gonna try my best to make a cool like custom card, and that like kind of that picture that will also be included in the post on Instagram. So hopefully it comes out pretty decent. You'll kind of see it when the post gets linked. But let's kind of move on to some of the other competitions. First up, because Man City did like the double or the treble. Let me check. It might have been a treble. Let me double check. 2024 standings. Yeah, they did a treble. They won the Premier League and they won both cups. Because they did a domestic triple, like the team who finishes second then plays like the team who did the double in the FA Cup and the league and the Community Shield, which was us. We finished second, but we kind of the randomizer said simulate for that match, which I did like do the slow sim. So if we were winning, I could hop in at the end and get the cutscene and stuff for footage at the end of the episodes. But we lost 2-0. Unfortunate, man. At Man City, like, they're just like on OP in that like this like the slow sim. Like no matter what, I feel like I don't know if I've like ever actually beaten them doing like the slow sim like this in like any kit quest like ever. But it is what it is because we won a piece of silver at the end of the season, so I don't really care that much at this point. So we got our silverware, Jersey Quest kit quest success. But let's move on to the Carabao Cup instead of the FA Cup. See here, it looks like Arsenal beat Chelsea 2-1 in the final. Sorry, let me just get a sip of something. That's better. This looks like Arsenal beat Chelsea 2-1 in the final of that. In terms of how we did, let's go back to round 3. That's where we started out. We got a pretty hard draw, I'm pretty sure. Where are we? Yeah, right. We got a Premier League draw, which is pretty tough against Brighton. But we got lucky. I got the roll said play, so they played. Dominic Solanke brace in a 2-0 victory. Round 4, we got another really hard draw against Man United, which, as you can see here, did not go quite as well. We lost that match 3-4. That was a simulated match. So despite a brace from Manor Solomon and James Madison goal, we couldn't. We were just too leaky at the back, and Man United won and beat us. And as we kind of saw, Arsenal beat Chelsea 2-1 in the final. The FA Cup, as you kind of might have seen, like in some of the things that kind of popped up in different areas while we are in other parts of this episode. We got to the final, and once again, we lost to Man City 0-1. That was another slow sim thing, which is what I mean. Like, they're just like way too dominant, like in the slow sim, in my opinion. Like teams like Spurs and stuff have taken games to them. It's like not just a complete like smother job, but it is what it is. We lost in like an 85th minute goal from like João Felix, which I mean like that's what I mean. They have like an OP team and stuff too, but whatever. But in terms of how we kind of got to the FA Cup final, let's go all the way back to round 3, where we started out. We had some pretty good draws in round 3 and 4. Yeah, we got Hull City. That was a play match, 1-0. First, that was a Dom Solanke goal. Yeah, Dom Solanke goal. Round 4, we got Wycombe Wanderers. Yeah, Wycombe Wanderers has a play match. Got goals from Lo Celso, Solanke brace, and a goal from Marcel Sabitzer. Then round 5, this one we kind of started getting tougher matchups. We got Newcastle United at home, thankfully, though. That was a simulated match. We won that with goals from Dom Solanke and Dejan Kulusevski. Round 6 are the quarterfinals. We got a matchup against our rivals Chelsea. That was another simulated match. We won 3-1 with a Véliz brace and a Madison goal as well. Semifinals was the North London Derby. The other semifinal was Manchester Derby, so that was pretty cool. And we beat Arsenal 2-0, or is it? Here we go. That was like I rolled draw in the randomizer, which meant like I slow simmed it, and then if like City but because we were up 2, we went 1-2-0. I didn't really have to do anything, so it was just ended up being a slow sim match. Goals from Sabitzer and Véliz. And then the finals, like I said, we lost 1-0 to Man City. Is what it is. Next, let's look at some of the European stuff. Let's look at the Super Cup. So that was Leverkusen against Club Brugge. Leverkusen won that 2-0. Then let's go to the Conference League. See who won that. Spanish final, Real Sociedad over Sevilla, 2-1. The Europa League, Man United looks like they beat Roma on penalties, 5-4. The 3-3 like kind of after 120 minutes. And then the Champions League, looks like here, Real Madrid. This is a kind of rematch of last season's Champions League final in real life. Real Madrid and Dortmund. Madrid won that 2-1, 2-1. In terms of how we did in the Champions League, I'll kind of go through that now. Group stage, we got a pretty similar group to the one we were in last year. We're in a group with a Slavia Prague, a Red Bull team, and then a team who starts with M. This time it's Milan, so to Marseille. But 5 wins, 1 loss. I think our 1 loss in the group stage was the Prague in the last group stage game. We'd already clinched the group, so I put out a mad rotated side. And there's a quick sim. We lost 2-3. And at 16, we got matched up against Celtic. First leg, we got play, so I won that 3-0 with goals from Belize, Madison, and Van de Ven. And the second leg was also play, but I was kind of just playing mad defensively to make sure I didn't give up any goals and stuff. And they ended up scoring a goal almost pretty much right at the end, but the aggregator 3-1. We moved on to the quarterfinals, where we got matched up against Juve. First leg was 2-2 draw at that's the second leg. The first leg was the 2-1 away win with a Brendan Johnson goal at the last kick of the match. And then the second leg was just either a 2-2 draw at home, which meant we moved on aggregate 4-3 with goals from Kulusevski and Jed Spence coming off the bench to kind of save it from going to extra time. So pretty cool for him. Semifinals, we got matched up against Real Madrid, and as you kind of see here, we got absolutely destroyed. Both those were simulated matches. This is kind of after we clinched the title pretty early. So it's kind of playing a rotated side in the league and then kind of resting Stars and stuff didn't really matter. We lost the first leg 1-3 with a Brian Heel goal. So kind of consolation at the end of that, which meant we could have potentially, if we had a decent game in the second leg at home, could have moved on to the final, but we didn't. We lost 2-0. So Real Madrid moved on to the final and won. So that's a pretty solid season in terms of we got a piece of silver, made it to a final, the FA Cup, and the semifinals of the Champions League. It's pretty great, I would say. So in terms of now, the only thing we have to go through really now is like the board goals and then like transfer business and whatnot, and like release the stats. So let's go to kind of objectives here, the board goals. As you can see here, remember last season we were kind of down a very weak side, and they were like, you have one season to kind of turn things around, or you're going to get fired. You can see here our manager popularity rating is moderate, and assuming because we won a piece of silverware, I should be okay, but you never know with these games. Youth development, again, it was signed 3 players younger than 20 again, but I kind of did the same thing I did last season, just promote some like of our youth academy guys, partially because of a second objective, which we'll show in a sec. But yes, that's what I did to complete that. Brand exposure, I think that the short-term one was the same one as last season, or it was already completed and not to do anything. The long-term one is to sign, as you've seen from the last episodes, was sign 4 A2 overall or above players. As you can see, we signed 2, get them to the transfer business. Financial is to make a 6.8 million profit from youth player sales within 2 seasons, which thing is buggy as heck. EA Sports, you need to fix this for FC25 because one, I know I from like my reading I read in past, like when I was doing these on my own in the past, is it's bugged in the sense you can't sell a player during the actual like either the summer or the January transfer window, like a youth player, it won't count at all. And I guess apparently also maybe it's like if you don't promote, if it's like they've promoted like a season in the past for me, it's not how it works. I don't know because I sold like a youth goalkeeper I had signed like a season or 2 ago and promoted him because there was like the whole complaining thing. Sold him for like 15 or 11 million pounds or something like that to like Everton, and like none of that profit counted. So then like the second half of the season after the January window, I've been like promoting like a couple like youth players and then selling them on. And we're almost done here, so it might not complete this objective, but I just agreed a deal like right before the FA Cup final with the club for like one of our youth players for like 400 grand or something like that, and that should be enough to push us over the edge, but we'll see. Domestic success was finished top 4. We won the league, so we did that. FA Cup was to win the cup, we made it to the final, so it's a big old red X because the game is like very like binary in that sense. Same thing with the Champions League, reached the final, we made it to the semis, so it's a big old red X. But because we're winning and stuff, we're in a reasonable spot. In terms of the board, in terms of the squad, I'll kind of go through the squad and kind of like scroll through some stats and whatnot while I go over our 23 pieces of transfer business that we did this season. So the first 2 were just were kind of first couple were extensions. First one was Matthew Craig, a 3-year extension with a increase to £15,000 a week, and he also then went on loan to Luton later after that. Next up was Brian Heel. He got a 2-year extension with a slight increase to £60,000 a week. And then Alfie Dorrington got a 3-year extension with a decently sized increase to £10,000 a week. First kind of big sale was Rodrigo Bentancur for £65 million to Bayern, so he went to join Kane and Son at Bayern Munich. We got an A for that transfer, which is pretty good. And then his kind of replacement, who I've mentioned a couple of times, is Marcel Sabitzer, who we brought in for £19 million from Dortmund and signed him to a 4-year, £60,000 a week contract. They gave us an A. The game gave me an A grade for that transfer, and he's considered a pretty decent season with 9 goals, 5 assists in all competitions, which is pretty solid. After that, the next thing was selling Richarlison for £56 million to Juventus. Gave me an A grade for that. The piece of business after that was the one I already mentioned, was Craig going on loan to Luton. The next piece was Stain Scarlett going on loan to Porto in Portugal. And then Jamie Donnelly went on loan to Feyenoord in the Dutch league. Alfie Devine went on loan to Fenerbahce in Turkish league. And then Tyrese Hall, where is he? Here he is. He went on loan to Club Brugge in the Belgian league. Then kind of a replacement for Richarlison kind of took a little bit because I had to like scout the player and so like they could give me like a decent value to like offer for him a transfer. with someone who Spurs brought in real life in this summer transfer window, Dominic Solanke. Brought him in for £23.2 million from Hoffenheim and signed him to a 3-year, £65,000 a week contract. The game gave me a B grade for that. He had a pretty great season, mostly being our kind of backup striker with 19 goals and 4 assists in all competitions. That's pretty solid, I'd say, for a kind of second string striker. Next up was a massive sale. I think it was like the second biggest, like in terms of like dollar pound value transfer of the whole season. Was Christian Romero for 115 million pounds to Liverpool. Game gave me A grade for that, which was pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, it was also a pretty massive like kind of transfer amount, which is pretty great. But after that, the next thing was Alfie Dorrington going on loan to VfL Bochum in Germany for a year, which is pretty good. And then Romero's replacement was Loic Bade from Sevilla. He scored 1 goal in the Champions League, which is pretty cool. But he was pretty solid at the back for us. He grew a bunch as well, which is nice. Then Ashley Phillips went on loan. Stuttgart, pretty good. Iago Santiago went on loan. Where is he? To Middlesbrough, down in the lower kind of stages of the league. The next thing then was at the kind of on the deadline at the end of the summer window is Fraser Foster left and like Austin kind of buns brought in a backup goalkeeper, Angel Fortuna from Espanyol. He had a release clause like £4 million. I signed that and then signed him to a 4-year, £17,500 a week contract. He gave me an F because he paid a release clause. I'm pretty sure like pretty much every time, unless the release clause is like actually below their value, the game gives you an F for it. So it's whatever. Then the January, like in between kind of windows, which then kind of the business actually went through in the January window, is Basuma for £32.5 million. We transferred him to Barcelona. Game gave me an A grade for that. Then his replacement was Conrad Leimer for £56.1 million from Bayern. That was another release clause. The game gave me an F. Signed him to a 4-year, £85,000 a week contract. And all these, like his goal contributions came from his time with us. He did play all of the group stage matches for Bayern in the Champions League before coming to us. So like his Champions League stats like aren't quite what those were, but he was pretty solid for us. 3 assists. He's kind of there to be our big kind of monster six. And he's honestly, I think, is from like watching like kind of both Bayern and Tottenham matches, because as a big fan of Harry Kane, that's why I got into Tottenham. When he transferred, I was like, I might as well start watching some Bayern matches as well to kind of keep up with what he's doing. And it kind of seems to be like Leimer is like the 4th choice kind of 6 at Bayern right now in real life, kind of behind Kimmich, Palhinha, and then Pavlovic, and he's kind of like 4th choice. So I think if like he's kind of stays in that position under Company, I think it'd be a pretty smart idea if Tottenham are still kind of looking for a monster, kind of quote unquote monster destroyer 6. I feel like Leimer would be a great kind of fit for that. So it'd be really cool if like at some point if Tottenham kind of went in for Leimer, if Bayern were interested in selling him in real life, that'd be pretty awesome. I think he'd be pretty good in Ange's system, I'd say, but that's just my opinion. Next up, that's what I thought like our last piece of business this like kind of season would have been, but then kind of weird glitchy stuff that happens in EA Sports games happened, and in the January window before our actually no, it was at the end of December, kind of right before the January window, we had a match away at Leeds. Manor Solomon was like, I want to play at the match, and I was like, okay, sure. Put you in. It was a simulated match. We drew 1-1. He scored a goal. And I was like, oh, he should be great. He should be all happy, happy, happy. He, like played in the game. He scored. He'll be like, all right, cool, Leo. Thanks for giving me playing time and stuff. But no, he was like, I'm not getting enough playing time, or like I'm at 100%. And he was talking about like weird, like kind of seemed like injury related stuff, but he hadn't been injured at all. And he's like, I want to transfer. So he put in a transfer request, and I obliged and sold him to Brentford for £30 million, which the game gave me an A for. And then as his replacement, I signed. Where is he? Here we go. Lucas Ocampos from Ajax, he played for Sevilla last season. I think maybe on loan from Ajax, but signed him for £13 million to a 2-year, £8,000 a week contract. And the game gave me a B grade for that. And the last piece of transfer business that's like worth talking about is then I kind of sent Austin on loan for 6 months to Coventry. But let's kind of quickly look at Véliz's stats here before we kind of wrap up. So his overall grew pretty great, so he's now pretty solidly a starting striker in the Prem for us. Played 45 matches, 23 goals, 7 assists in all competitions. It was on the pitch for 22 clean sheets. Scored 17 goals in the Prem. Not sure if that's good enough for the Golden Boot. I don't think it is, but it's pretty solid anyways, I'd say. And 6 assists, not bad either. So he's kind of playing pretty well for us, but kind of that in mind, I don't think I should be getting at risk of getting fired, so I'm going to kind of end things here. And the next episode will be at the end of the 2026-2027 season, which we'll be kind of getting close to the end of the Kit Quest, but I'll kind of be putting most of my eggs in the kind of not Premier League basket, so I might honestly just end up not using the randomizer anymore and just like simming pretty much every Premier League match, unless we're like going to get relegated or something, and kind of focus all my energy on the Cups and the Champions League and kind of see how that goes. But that in mind, thank you to anyone who watched this video, and I hope you'll consider watching the next episode as well.
He brings this game to an end. Well, the fans knew before a ball was kicked they were here for a party, and let the title party begin, Stuart.
Well, they've had to wait, but it's going to be worth it. Just listen to the fans inside this stadium. Great scenes here.
The best team in the league. It was official ahead of this game, but the supporters wanted to be here to drink in the moment.
Yeah, over the course of the season, they've been absolutely superb. Fully deserved the title.
Well, this is special for everybody at the club. What a great moment for any young player. And this is what you dream about when you start playing football. When you're playing in the playground, you want to win a cup. Brilliant moment.
Yes, a special moment in the career of any footballer. And now for the trophy lift itself. The cup winners.
Well, you can just see what it means to those players and the manager. That's fantastic stuff.
There's always the element of chance in a cup competition, but my goodness, they've taken the rough with the smooth, and now they savour the moment. And now this is really special, isn't it? The chance to run with that trophy over towards the fans and say thank you and celebrate together.
Well, they're absolutely right to do that. The fans deserve to celebrate as well. They've been excellent. They've made so much noise here. Great scenes.
And now they get ready for the photographs that will be appearing in the newspapers, on the internet and on social media in the hours ahead.
And they will cherish these photos for years to come.